Welcome back to another code tutorial. Today we are going to delve into Git and mostly in use for GitHub, but additional Git repositories include Bitbucket and others. If you plan on working with code at all, you're probably going to need to use GitHub at some point. One, it's a great way to demo your code. Two, it's an incredibly great way to version control and share code across large scalable numbers of developers and consumers and clients alike. You can build off deployment pipelines to make it automatically deploy so that as soon as you code and you push up to a new GitHub branch, it'll automatically push out the website, build all of your code, and then present applications to all of your users in one seamless developed pipeline that includes testing. Without further ado, let's get started. Once you type in all the information that meets their requirements, you can sign up for GitHub. And now we need to choose a plan. Sure, you can add in that account. And we can kind of ignore most of this. We can have unlimited free repositories, which is awesome, and you don't need the rest of this. Leave it unchecked. I'm totally new to programming because I'm going to experience this through your shoes, and I'm going to use it for school projects and for research because I like to research stuff. And I'm a student, because I'm assuming most of you are students. But if you're a hobbyist, you could also be a professional. Just check. What are you interested in? I'm interested in making a GitHub pages. Pages. Okay, submit. Once we have created our account, the best place to go is the GitHub Pages website, where you can actually see the tutorial that they have available. And we'll follow that because it's a great tutorial. First thing we need to do is create the repository for our github.io. Back over on GitHub, we will create a new repository. That name will be, the repository name needs to be your username.github.io. This part is very important. If you don't have the repository name matching as your username.github.io, it won't load when we finish this. The description can be optional, so I'm going to leave it blank for now, and then we'll just create this for speed. We've finished with step 1, so moving on to step 2, use a terminal. Please be a real coder and use a terminal. It's just very important. Using the terminal leverages a lot of power, especially when you truly understand what it is you're using the command line for when you're using Git. So use a terminal, and then you could optionally use GitHub Desktop, or I don't know, but use a terminal. And then you'll clone the repository. So follow this framework and use clone git clone the github.com / your username. So in my case, sweetbabysoylent GitHub sweetbabysoylent GitHub.github.io. This is the same line that we have right here. github.com / my username / my username.github.io.git. So we can clone this. I'll click the copy button from right here, return to my terminal, and say, for a terminal, if you have a Linux machine or a Mac device, you can just search terminal and then you can open that up. If you have a Windows machine, I generally recommend cmdir. This was recommended to me by one of my mentors, and it's a console emulator. So when you download it, you will get the exact same features and access to your root and to a lot of just the actual guts of your computer as you would on a Linux device, but you get it for Windows, and it's free, open source. Back before I was using Linux, I used cmdir as my terminal. So again, we're going to copy this and we're going to go into that terminal, and the first thing we're going to do is change directory into the project folder where we want to edit this code. For me, change directory into, I actually have a projects folder, and I've already set up a GitHub tutorial folder inside of that. Once I go inside of there, I type git clone, and then I'm going to paste the name of the repository, which I copied from right here in the GitHub page. Great, I've cloned an empty repository exactly as planned. Once we've done that, we want to change our directory into what's been downloaded. So let's, just for show that we have something, we do. So let's change directory into sweet, whatever the name of yours is, and we'll see inside of here that there is nothing. LS stands for list, and because there's nothing in here, we can go ahead and add some code. The code we're going to add is from an open source site called HTML5up. This is a site that I use a lot for portfolio websites all across patricksweetman.com. Also for some clients I use this, for some clubs I use this. They have a lot of great open source, and it's fully responsive across mobile phones to tablets to desktops to larger screens. And for this tutorial, we're going to use Photon because I really like this. I'm going to use this for my book tracker. You can see a live demo of the site, what it'll look like, and you can see as we scale down the site, everything scales nicely. You can look at it on a phone and everything dynamically changes for you. So we can download this and get the HTML files, the CSS files, and the JavaScript files. You click that and then it'll give us the download right down here. Open up your File Explorer and go to your downloads, and then you're going to extract these files into a new folder that I'm going to call Portfolio. And then extract those files. Just to check inside of this portfolio folder, we can open up index.html and see this basic site already works for us. We can click the buttons, and instead of being hosted over here at html5up.net, instead it's just right here in file. There's no www because this file is just in our file directory. What we'll do is we'll Control A and Control C to copy all of those files, and then we'll paste them inside of that folder we created. So here is the folder that we cloned from GitHub, and I'll go inside of that, and then I'll Control V or right click paste, and then all of our files are in there. Let's toggle back to our terminal, and now let's check again, and we can see that instead of being blank, we actually have all of those files that we just copied and pasted into there. Now that we've had this, let's start playing with a couple of our first Git commands. First command that we need to know, this is the bread and butter of Git, is git status. This is going to say, hey, for this repository, how does the version of our code compare with the version that everybody else has up in the cloud at GitHub? It says, look, we have untracked files in here. There's a license, there's all these files. I'm not even paying attention to them yet. Should I pay attention to them? And you say, yeah, Git, why don't you add all of those files to what you're paying attention to? You can add them individually by typing out the names, but I typically just do add dot, which is going to add all of the files to being tracked. Now when we do, again, our bread and butter, git status, we'll see that all of these files, it's added not only the outside folders, but every single file inside of them to now being watched. Now that we're watching those files, we want to set a label as to what our change is. So it says, hey, I see that you made all of these changes. What did you do in these changes? From a high level, if I was going to describe this to a person, what was I going to do? What would I say happened? So again, git. Every single command for git, we'll start with git. This time we're going to make a commit. We're going to commit a message, and the message is going to be initial commit because this is our first time committing to the repository. It could also be something like added login feature, or added Google button feature, or added pay with credit card feature. These are different commit options that you can have. Once you commit, you'll see that we've created all of these files into a commit, and right now we need to move them from our local machine, which is your local computer, which is sitting in front of you, to GitHub up here. We want to move it to this page, because right now, when we refresh this page, we still just have this intro text. It's waiting for some files to be dropped here, and nothing's here yet. So let's push our files up there, and that command is going to be git push origin master. When we run that, it's going to ask us to log in, and then you're going to hit enter and type in your password. Once you do that, it will push the project up. Now that we've pushed the project up, let's come over here and let's refresh, and we'll see that we actually have stuff here. Once we've done that, we'll come into settings, and we'll scroll down until we see GitHub pages. And it says your site is already published down here, and if it's not, you're just going to enable it to be published. So we'll click this link and we'll see if it's already here. And here we have our website already published at sweetbabysoylent.github.io. So I can change this, I can link it on other websites, I can put it on my Instagram, on my Twitter, I can throw it on Snapchat as a swipe up, and then I can share it with recruiters. I can put it on a physical copy of my resume so that recruiters can come in here and they can see all of the code that I have. Now that we've done this, let's make our first change to really customize this into our own portfolio. If you don't already have a text editor, the text editor I'm going to work with is called Atom. I like it a lot, so I'm going to show you how to download it real quick. Atom was created by GitHub, which is awesome because you know that means it's open source. And it works on whatever operating system you have. For me, I have a Linux, so it's recommending the Debian files, but for you, it should already recommend the correct files. You'll click it, and then you'll just follow the very simple setup instructions, and you'll download the text editor. Once you're in your code editor of choice, whether that's Atom or Sublime text editor or even Notepad++, you're going to add your project folder, Be sure to go into that and select the actual repository that we want. And then the only thing we're going to be editing is the index file right now. You can see in here, if you just read through it, that we have up at the top, we have a title, and this title matches the basic title up here, which is Photon by HTML5 up. We'll want to change that to something like our name or portfolio. Down in here, we can see that all of this matches the text that's on the screen. So up at the top, hi, I'm Photon, another fine little freebie. Hi, I'm Photon, I'm a fine little freebie. So we can change this to match whatever we want. We can delete some of the sections, we can copy some of the sections and duplicate them and change them in multiple different ways. And in addition, it looks like these are comments. And inside of comments, we have additional sections with even more labels and even more things that we can add if we want. It looks like if they have options for us to give prices, if we have items to include in a shop, or if we want to put in different products and other things. They already give it to us right here. So I'm just going to edit this top section to make it say something like, welcome to, hi, I'm Patrick, I am a software developer. And then I'm going to change this to say Patrick's or just I'll have this say portfolio, and then I'll have this say meet Pat. Change this to say portfolio. Change this to say Pat, a professional software developer for IoT and voice apps. Or you could make it for websites and Android apps. Whatever you do, list it. Right below that, let's give some text saying what we want. I am currently working at Amazon for their AWS IoT team. It can be whoever you like. Be sure to save your changes, and once you have, let's return to the command line. The first thing we want to do is we want to see if while we were coding, if anybody else changed our code. I know we're the only ones working on this, but this is good practice to hold for when you go and develop in the future. So we'll do a git status, make sure, we'll do git pull, origin master. We're pulling from the master down to our branch and updating it from the cloud. And it says it's already up to date, which is awesome. That means that since we've been here, nobody has changed the code. Let's check with our bread and butter git status, and we can see that we've modified our index file, which we have. So let's make sure that it tracks that change. So we'll say git add dot. Well, just to show that we can, we'll add this individual file, and then we'll run the git status again, and it's there. The next thing we want to do is commit that change with a message. Updated Jumbotron text. I know it's not a Jumbotron, it's like a header, but I like to think of it like it is a Jumbotron. Commit, we've committed that, and then we will push those changes up to master. And it'll have a sign in, username and password. And once our changes are pushed, we will be able to see them in here. In our repository now, we will see that there are 2 commits on the website, or on the page. And once we refresh the page over here, we'll see that, try clearing your cache if the change doesn't show up. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong folder. Change over here. Once you go back to the actual website and you refresh that, you'll see that now it says portfolio up here, and then it says, hi, I'm Pat, a professional software developer for IoT and voice apps. I forgot a space there, and I'm currently working at Amazon for their AWS IoT team. And once you click Meet Pat, it'll scroll down, where down here I would probably demo some of my projects. Down here, maybe some of my social medias or other experience that you have. Maybe your education. Maybe education goes down here. And then put your social media. You can link those right now. As you can see, all that those do is add a little hashtag on here. But when you scroll through this code, you can change all of this info. Control find. You can probably control find for Twitter. Yeah, when you find for Twitter, you can find it right here. And then you can change the href to your Twitter account. So twitter.com/whatever your username is. And now you have a working site using GitHub. You've learned how to use GitHub, not only to push code to a repository, all of this code lives in here, But on top of that, you created a GitHub page, so you can present this. It's for free. You can build your own website, not have to worry about managing servers or buying a domain, but you can just host it. And if in the future you do want to buy your own domain, you can. There are options in your settings to move the domain to a different URL, which is awesome that GitHub gives you that kind of flexibility. So go and develop, go and hack, go and create something new, try something out, learn a new technology, follow a tutorial, go and watch another YouTube video like this, but follow along. Just like practicing on the piano, experiencing, develops these neural pathways in your head so that way you actually become the person that you're trying to be. Don't just sit there and watch these tutorials, actually execute on them, create the projects, create the applications, experiment, learn, develop. I wish you the best of luck, and namaste.